Everybody that knows me knows I have the absolute worst short-term memory out of everyone that knows.
I was just going to come at that.
So I have to write everything down. My dad used to say the faintest ink is stronger than the best memory. So everything, even if it's something that I feel like I don't need to write down, I've learned from myself that I need to write it down.
Follow me to the edge of the world.
So 3 guys walked into a bar.
You're not from Boston.
I'm not from Boston. I'm trying to be from New York. It didn't work out. Welcome to the Neuse River Podcast. My name is Nathan. This is John Prescott. Ryan, I don't even know your last name, Ryan.
Kolarov.
Ryan, I'm sorry, what?
Kolarov.
Kolarov. Ryan Kolarov, owner of Neuse River Brewery, owner of Neuse River CrossFit.
Boom.
And we are live today from Neuse River Brewery. Well, we're not live, we're recorded from Neuse River Brewery. We are talking to these 2 fine gentlemen about community, about like business, about all sorts of fun stuff. So very excited that you're here. You could have been anywhere. Really glad that you're here. So guys, we're just gonna go right on into it. Tell us a little bit about your operation and how you got started. Ryan, I want to start with you. Tell us a little bit about Neuse River Brewing.
All right, we got started, was home brewing for quite a while. Met my wife in the Caribbean. She's from the Bay Area, California. We moved back there to start a family.
Wow.
I got a job with a chemical company working with wineries and breweries. So I got a lot of pro brewing experience from a lot of different big breweries. I did that for about 6 years. And we decided to come back to my home where I grew up and get sort of ingrained into the industry and have a go at it ourselves.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. So you started in the Caribbean, kind of. Met your wife there.
Well, yeah.
Kind of got your experience there.
Met my wife there is
Right.
sort of how that led. No, I wasn't brewing down there. I don't think a
He was
lot of
partying.
people. Yeah.
He was living in the sand.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I was drinking rum down there.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And we've heard a little bit about Neuse River CrossFit over the last couple of weeks. But John, I don't think a lot of people know a lot of the story about how Neuse River got started. If you want to
Yeah,
tell us a little bit
community
about
based
that.
on community, right?
That's right.
You know, an opportunity came where I decided to leave my old job, running the other gym that we were at, and community lifting up community. You know, the day that I left, it was a bigger question as to where I was going from the rest of the membership, and kind of flash forward, walking into this brewery. You know, we went through the process of getting everyone into, okay, let's get open. How are we going to do this? We started forming a plan. We went and leased a space, and this was, you know, with the help of like 90 other people, right? So, but then like this really challenging question came to be. It was, what are we going to name our gym? Right? It seems so arbitrary, but you know, there's always marketing perspective to be concerned with, but there's that idea of sort of, this is a community organization, right? So we went through, and if any affiliate owners are out there and you're listening to this, the process for naming your organization is challenging because CrossFit has a lot of rules for good reason, you know? And we went back, I want to say I think the lady at CrossFit headquarters was just getting irritated with me. I think we went back about 14 times and got declined with names. And we started looking at the kind of the bigger picture, and Neuse River is the largest water source in the state of North Carolina. It supplies somewhere in the scope of, I think, 86 towns and villages and cities with water. It's the largest water basin, and I believe it stretches somewhere in the 200-mile range. That number I'm probably making up, but the other ones I'm not.
Widest river in the country, too.
It's the widest river in the country. And so then when we thought about that, when we saw that and somebody else in the group mentioned it, I was like, that makes a lot, that's applicable, right? Like now we're stretching outside of just Raleigh. In our group, it's going to be wider. So emailed CrossFit, went through the process, you know, waited the 3 days or whatever, and got an email back, hey, Neuse River CrossFit was approved. So as a celebration, about 6 or 7 of the guys came, coincidentally, just happened to come into Neuse River Brewery. And when we were hanging out and we were just kind of, you know, shooting the breeze, having a few beers, and go to tally out, and I walk up to the bar, and I said very kind of passively, I was like, this may not mean anything to you, but you know, our affiliate name got approved today, and it's, you know, we're Neuse River CrossFit. And there stood Ryan, and he said, hey man, how's it going? I'm the owner. And we shook hands and sort of developed a sort of a rapport with each other, and small business owners kind of working together on a kind of common vision, you know.
That's That's fantastic. So how did you come up with the name of Neuse River? Was it similar or like?
It was similar. You know, just from people knowing that they're having a local product and they're having something from North Carolina for North Carolina, made sense. Again, it's our longest river in the state. It is the widest river in the country. Not that that has anything to do with it. That
I
was
think
a
it's a badass thing.
Fun fact that we found out that somebody told me and I didn't believe, so I had to look it up. We do a lot of work with the Sound Rivers Foundation that helps keep up the river, and that was a plan with us from the beginnings to give something back. And
So they're like an organization that kind of keeps everything clean, or like what's their
yeah,
role?
Sound Rivers at the time they were called Riverkeepers Foundation, and we worked with the Upper Neuse Riverkeeper specifically. They've since changed their foundation to Sound Rivers Foundations, but it's a big program. It's a national program. We worked specifically with the Neuse River, but all the North Carolina Riverkeepers came together and formed the Sound Rivers, but that had a lot to do with it.
That's awesome.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, that's a perfect segue into my next question. Obviously, local business, local brewery, local gym, health and fitness. Why is it important for you guys, and you can just kind of go back and forth about this, why is it important for you all to be local, to have community? Like, talk about some of the importance of that. Obviously, community is a big part of CrossFit.
Yeah.
Community is a big part of beer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I come in here and you see similar faces like whenever I've been here. So talk about just the community aspect of it, why that's important to you guys as local people, local owners.
Again, like you said, consumption of our product, people that come in and visit us are loyal patrons. Everybody is from the area. If people aren't from the area originally and grew up knowing the river, then they've moved here, and most of our demographic are people that are outside and enjoying nature and enjoying themselves. So it was just important to us to be able to support that and give a little bit back, since they show us so much support and help us.
Sure. Yeah, I guess for me, it's our organization was built on community, so they brought in the ability for our organization to be possible, and I've always kind of had that underlying belief that creating a network of like-minded people in all different facets of business will ultimately help you flourish. It'll help you grow, expand your network. And while you probably know this, and you're going to learn this for the Brewdown, there's a lot of crossover with beer drinking and CrossFitters. It seems to be a synergistic sort of relationship. And it's, we drive by breweries in my gym to come here. I know that because I do it myself. And there's a lot of loyalty to be said, not just because there's a great product, but because of the atmosphere that, the leadership, and they cultivate that. And that comes from the top. And I think beer, fitness, that's what kind of the local business offers you, is the ability to cultivate that relationship. And for me, it's always been about expanding that community and sort of growing it, not just, hey, how many more memberships can I sell, but how can I find different angles to my community that maybe my organization isn't reaching? And that's kind of how the conversation, I think, got started for the Brewdown.
So obviously, as independent, and I know, one of the things about this podcast, which is really cool, is we're going to have a lot of different topics as we explore. Last week we were talking about nutrition. This week, obviously, is entrepreneurial spirit, community. For somebody that is not an entrepreneur, but that might have to overcome some challenges for things that they're doing, talk about some of the challenges you guys have had to overcome as you have. Obviously, I know some.
He's got jokes this morning.
No,
he's got jokes.
I'm doing.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But no, I mean, obviously, both of you have started very successful local businesses, but I know it wasn't easy to start off with. Talk about some of that and kind of how you overcame it.
I guess for us, persistence and not giving up. I mean, there are a lot of things, whether it be permitting or logistics, financing. There are a lot of hurdles that make you think at the end of the day, what the hell am I doing? Is this gonna pan out? I've got everything on the line. What if this doesn't work? And I guess that's probably one of the biggest things I could say is when somebody starts this, whatever business it may be, there's no, I guess there are books, but there's no real set plan that tells you, hey, this is how you need to do it and this is how it needs to be done. So there's a lot of due diligence that goes in, and a lot of focus and a lot of tenacity that you really have to stick with and grind out and get it figured out, because nobody else is going to do it for you.
No, they're not. I think if it wasn't for the support of my family, there's just no way. I mean, honestly, that's
I'm
the
in
first
that
thing.
same
You know what I'm
boat,
saying?
too, yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Holy.
Hey, I want in on that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Cool. But I think it's really great when you go get a comfortable job. You get your 2-week salary. You get your 401k. You get your pension. I had that life. I lived that life. I was pretty successful at it. But if you really enjoy autonomy and being your own boss, then you're going to have nights where you really scratch your head and wonder if this was the right choice. How are you going to pay that bill the next day? Or you want to expand into this, or you want to grow into this. Well, that's going to cost X dollars, and what's that look like over the next 5 years? And how do I plan on marketing to new people so that I can expand and I can grow? And when you're a one-man band, it's definitely, if it's not for your support mechanism, so I guess you're more like a marching band, and you're kind of just the orchestra leader. But without the support of the people around me, I wouldn't be here. But I definitely think that it's that conversation with yourself every couple of months where you're like, what the hell am I doing?
So you see yourself from 5 years ago in a bar. What do you tell them?
In a brewery, kind of like this.
So you see yourself in a brewery, kind of like this,
Similar.
from 5 years ago. What do you tell that person to get them to a really good place today?
You want me
Let
to
you
go?
go ahead,
All
yeah.
right. I actually, probably the best piece of advice, and in the past few months, I've actually given this advice. It was given to me. I remember the conversation I had with the guy who owned the gym, Jason Ackerman, and I just went to him and said, "Look, I'm moving. Like, I'm going to North Carolina, and I'm thinking about opening up a gym." And first, he told me I was an idiot, nicely, but he said I was an idiot, and he gave me 2 pieces of advice, and to this day I stick with it, and I've passed this advice on. The first one is, get a good accountant. Somebody you trust, somebody that you know has your best interests in mind. Get a good accountant. Number 2, grow with your business. Don't get doe-eyed. Invest a bunch of money into something that you're not sustainably going to have, because within 6 months to a year you won't have it anymore. And he did that. I mean, that's the way his business grew. And when he sold it, he had this huge, flourishing CrossFit that he had built from a 500 square foot studio style space into a 8,000 square foot area. And it was really cool to see that happen over 2 years. And to believe him now, it's been a very true kind of sentiment for me. So I've always pushed that advice forward. And I think it was a great piece of advice then, and I hope that it helps the people that I've been kind of consulting with in their businesses.
I got good advice from people that were close to me too, and one thing that I could say is that if there's something you want to do, sort of, go to the end first. Go to 10 years from now. Go to 5 years from now, and where do you want to be? What do you want your company to be? And with that in mind, what do you have to do in 2 years to get to that point? And to be at that point, what do you have to do in a year to get to that point? And so on, and just go down until you say, all right, I have to get this done every day. I have to get this done within a couple weeks. I have to get this done within a couple months. And for me, that kind of stuff has to be literally put on paper, and I have to look at it, and I have to cross off when I'm done, and sort of stay focused and start with I guess the end in mind.
So that's when we walked in today. You were carrying a pad of paper with you. What are some things for both of you guys that you do on a daily basis? Just habits that you have that maybe could help somebody listening today, just to kind of organize their life a little bit. What's some little stuff?
Everybody that knows me knows I have the absolute worst short-term memory out of everyone that knows.
I was just gonna come at that.
So I have to write everything down. My dad used to say the faintest ink is stronger than the best memory. So everything, even if it's something that I feel like I don't need to write down, I've learned from myself that I need to write it down. And you know, half the time when I write it down, I visualize that and I see it, and it helps me remember. So I'll do it without seeing it, but writing everything down was you know, huge for me. I had to do that.
So how about you?
I'm playing with a plate of scrambled eggs, man. I mean, sometimes I have to like write things down in multiple places to just remember them. But yeah, I do. I have anyone who knows me. If you come over to my house or like, there's notepads everywhere. I don't know if I'm crazy or if I'm smart, but there's notepads everywhere, and it's like my chronological way of keeping track of where I am, and I'll always go back to them. I use them. I will use the same notepad for programming that I use for scheduling, that I use for inventory, that I use. I mean, it's just like but it's the way my brain works. So I think my eggs are a little scrambled, but it works. I do make mistakes on scheduling sometimes. That's still, I could use a personal assistant for scheduling if anybody's available. But it does. It kind of grinds it into, like, that's one of the greatest quotes I've ever heard. You know, the faintest ink is stronger than the best memory. You know, it's totally true because, you know. But yeah, writing it down and being able to keep track of where I am is probably what I have to do in order to survive. You know?
Okay, so this is going to be a weird question. I'm just coming up with this kind of as we're going along. You may or may not want me to keep this in here, but obviously, like, that's a good habit that you've established. What's a weakness that you're like, I'm going to work on this? You know, like you were saying, like stair stepping down.
I have lots of weaknesses.
I do too. I'm going to say in relation to that, my biggest weakness would be taking something from that list and saying, I'm going to put it on, I'll put it lower down on the list. So,
I'm going to rewrite this so I don't forget.
Yeah. Procrastinating is always a hard battle. You know, sometimes, you know, I think tackling the bigger things that are bigger deals sort of take precedence, and you say, all right, I'm going to get this and this done. And then that allows some of the small things that maybe aren't as important, but are still very important to sometimes fall through the cracks. So I would say that you know, I've learned again for myself has been one of my weaknesses, that I need to shape up and treat everything, get everything done in a timely manner.
Actually follow.
Exactly.
Follow the list that you made.
Yeah.
I would say that I have a tendency to overburden myself. Like, I take on way too much, and it's not even a control issue. I hate asking people for help, not because I want to do everything. I hate doing everything. It takes up way too much time anyways. But I just have sort of an inability to communicate that sometimes. And it's funny because, you know, one of the coaches will walk in and I'm like pulling my hair out trying to get something done, and they're just like, what do you need? And then I'm like, well, I'm just doing this. Could you help? Yeah, absolutely. And then it's done in 15 minutes, whereas I'm trying to do 5 other things, and it's like a sandwich with layers on it, and I'm not even getting to the bottom yet. And you know, so I would say probably one of my biggest weaknesses is actually being able to ask somebody for help.
Delegating.
Yeah. And it's like I said, I don't care about control as much as I'm not very good at it. Like I hate burdening people is kind of what it is.
Yeah.
So have you guys ever partnered with other businesses in the area locally
have.
accomplish anything? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, you go first.
Well, again, with the we talked about a little bit earlier, Sound Rivers. We've done a lot of work with, and that you know, helps protect the river. They have you know, legal support that they need funding for. So we help them out with donating when we can. We've done some stuff with, for instance, a company called Frontier. It's sort of a flex workspace, an RTP. We made a beer with them that are for the people that are, you know, using their space, and they can have a beer after work.
That's awesome,
and it sort of helps boost mentality a little bit when people are able to, you know, take a break, take a breath, and have a beer. Yeah. We've worked with some other breweries, you know, making fun beers.
And Petey Pablo.
And Petey Pablo, yeah.
Petey Pablo.
Yeah.
It's good beer.
Yep.
Check it out.
And yeah, restaurants, bars, if they have had parties or anniversaries, maybe we've done a special beer or something like that for them. But
Fantastic.
It's good to know that you can do that.
yeah,
That's cool. That's awesome.
Well, yes. I mean, we always kind of. I think kind of that thing where we always work within our sort of realm, right? Like we've worked with a bunch of CrossFits. We have great relationships with Sue Sponte and Morrisville and Rollsville and, you know, all the kind of guys on our end of town, and even outreaching to other CrossFits across the country, working with the adaptive athletes and all that. But when we came to Ryan, and I was just kind of staring at the property, and I just had this big vision of gigantic human beings lifting ridiculous amounts of weights at a brewery. It just seemed like I was like, there it is. There's the opportunity. Like I can just see this super strong, you know, chick lifting a keg over a yoke because why wouldn't you want to do that here?
Who doesn't want to see that?
Right.
While holding a beer.
While
watching.
holding a beer, you know?
Right.
And with no frills, you know? It's not like a bullshit thing where, you know, take it for what it is. Going to a convention center is a cool place to do an event, but this is home. This is grassroots, you know? And yeah, I could host it at the gym. No problem. We could do it and it would be a cool event, but this is a really cool way to sort of bring two completely different businesses together and do something a little bit bigger, you know? This is gonna be a community thing. People throughout your entire community are gonna be walking through like, what the hell is going on? And they're gonna walk up the ramp here and they're gonna see someone hoisting a keg off of this contraption out here, and all of a sudden they're gonna be like, who the hell, what is this?
Right.
You know, let me get a beer, let me hang out.
Yeah.
So it's a great marketing opportunity for us. It's a great marketing opportunity for them. And, you know, really for us too, kind of growing out that community, what we did for the event, because, you know, Neuse River CrossFit isn't really a sole CrossFit gym. We have some elements, we have some great coaches and great athletes. But we partnered with Spider Strength and Conditioning right around the corner from Neuse River Brewery. They're like a half a mile from here. And Train Strongman, Lynn over at Train Strongman. And these guys have been really critical in helping us get a little bit more of the equipment that we don't have. They're happy to be a part of it. So again, you know, good for them. I want to advertise for them and bring kind of their brand into it and kind of work with us, and being able to sort of spread that message throughout. I think it's going to be a pretty cool sort of event, you know?
So for those of you that might have missed that, Neuse River Brewing.
I got carried away.
And Neuse River CrossFit are partnering for what we're calling the Neuse River Brewdown. It's a strongman event that's going to be held at the brewery.
September 1st.
September the 1st. So I'll let you guys kind of close us out by telling us a little bit about the event, you know, pushing it and things that they might need to know, where they can get tickets, what kind of beers they're going to be having, stuff like that. I'll let y'all kind of close it out like that, and we'll say goodbye after that. So tell us a little bit about the event.
I'll let John tell you guys mostly about that. Okay. I can tell you that you won't have to go to the bar after because you're already at the bar. It's very convenient.
You're already at the after
party.
We
did that for you guys. So.
Yeah, no, it's cool. So working with Neuse River Brewery and also Nickel Point kind of hopped on board with us up the road. We're actually closing the road down. We have a street fair. We have, as it stands right now, I believe a dozen vendors. We have 2 food trucks that are coming out. We'll have you know, games in the road and beer for sale. All of the beer that we're selling on the road will be profiting the Logan Aldrich Foundation for Adaptive Athletes, which will be going towards the funding of an athlete's membership somewhere at a gym of their choosing. So that was really cool. And both breweries are on board with that. So $1 from every pint that they sell out on the road is going to be going to the Logan Aldrich Foundation. And that's really great. Great community, again, kind of bringing that through. We're going to be setting up, the road will be closed from 10 to 5. Athletes will be checking in at the brewery at 8 a.m. The brewery won't be open at 8 a.m. They don't start serving beer then, trust me. I asked. But, so they'll be checking in at 8 a.m. Events are going to run until about 5 o'clock. We'll have things really well on time. If not early, we should be done kind of early. And afterwards, since everyone will be here, we'll be kind of hang out, get a bite to eat, you know, bring the family out. There's no real, it's totally open, you know, street fair. So we're really excited about this and really excited about the opportunity to kind of get out of our own gym, come into a more public arena, meet and greet with some new faces, meet some new people who might be interested in checking out CrossFit or drinking a beer that they may never have tried before. So
right.
great opportunity.
That's right. So Ryan, John, Nathan, we look forward to seeing you September the 1st. Neuse River Brewing, come check it out. We'll see you next week, fellas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Just the word.